Hey folks, Lisa Ziegler coming to you here on the Gardener's Workshop Urban Cut Flower Farm, and I'm glad for us to be moving right along with our home cutting garden tutorial that we're meeting here once a week in the evening to have a look at my little cutting garden and to kind of help you along the way. And I want to say that anybody that's planting a little cutting garden, whether you're following this exact plan or not, I would love to see your progress. So if you would like to post photos on this feed, I would love for you to do that and to see what you guys have going on. I have a lot of things to share with you tonight, and I want to first say that if you haven't already started a cutting garden, it is not too late for most of us. If you have 3 to 4 months of frost-free weather heading into summer coming, then you can actually still plant this little garden. And I will tell you that you will be so very surprised. So this is the garden that we're planting. This is our little seed collection that I put together several years ago for Country Garden magazines when they came here for a visit on our flower farm. And these are my favorites. It's got the Benary's Giants, those big honkin' zinnias in multiple colors. It has, and we also have the lime green zinnia, then, which is my little favorite, that's not everybody's, but I like the little Oklahoma zinnias. I like to have that variety in my little mixed bouquets. So it has those in mixed colors. And then it has the Pro Cut Orange Sunflower. And in fact, I swapped mine out and I planted the white sunflowers, which is also a Pro Cut. And we're going to talk about sunflowers today because now you can start adding a second layer of sunflowers. Then we also have some coxcomb, which is just such a great cutting garden flower. If you don't like coxcomb, there are some people that just have they really don't like coxcomb for whatever reason. And I understand that. And if you're one of those people and you don't want to give it a try, I understand it. But coxcomb adds an amazing layer of texture and color in a bouquet, as well as it is super long lasting. So it is just a really great one to have. And then the secret weapon of our mixed bouquets and our business, and that people just adore, is the foliage that we grow in this little cutting garden. And that's a mix of the lemon and the cinnamon basil. The varieties that we use are those that hold up in a vase the longest. And so you have a mix, actually a mix of both of them, even though, and I will tell you that my personal favorite is the lemon. So I went heavy on lemon this year. So I did put a link on this feed for you to be able to go to our sunflowers, which will get you to our website. In the seed listing is our collection. It's $20. It's 6 packs of seeds, and it has the little diagram. The garden we're talking about is 3 by 10 feet, and I've actually cut this garden in half, and you'll see it behind me when I get up. I had to sit further out because the sun was really blazing back there. So I have split that little 3 by 10 garden into 2 little gardens that are 3 by 5 feet. So they frame the front of, I'm just going to get rid of the messages. There we go. So I can see what you guys are seeing. So you can see behind me the 2 little 3 by 5 gardens with a walkway in the middle in front of our sweet building that's called the Inn. It was called the Inn because back when my home was built, which was in the early 30s, excuse me, and then Steve's grandparents moved here, I think it was like mid-40s. This little building was actually a cottage, and it was used by many people coming to this Mennonite community, as well as during the war, and the shipyard was booming. Our Newport News shipbuilding, which is here in my town, there were so many workers here building the ships that people rented out literally their attics even. So we house some of those folks in here. So there's a lot of sweet history here, and we now use it as a potting garden shed. And this little cutting garden is really amazing. So back to the cutting garden. It's not too late to plant this for most of us. It can be started indoors for quick transplants out to the garden, or you can plant seeds directly into the garden. So let's just kind of review our tutorial that we're doing. So the very first week, we actually talked about how I built these beds. These beds were not even here 6 or 7 weeks ago. So I did a quick bed build, and what I mean by that is we don't use herbicides, but we didn't want to have to wait for anything like that to use. There are organic options, but I didn't want to have to do that. So what I did was laid down 2 pieces of 3 by 5, or a little bit bigger actually, cardboard, and laid them right on top of the soil with the grass underneath of it and weeds. And I actually wet it a little bit before, put the cardboard down, and then I put rocks around the edge. And we're going to get up and look at the garden a little closer here in a minute. And then I put my rocks around to be a border of my little cutting garden, but also to hold that cardboard in place. Then, I don't know about you, but I have tons of containers sitting around my farm, some that don't get planted anymore, some that do. I collected all the ones that I did not plan on replanting this season, and I dumped all the potting soil on top of that cardboard and started building my bed. I then got a couple of big bags of potting soil, put 1 bag each into my bed, and then I put a couple of bags of compost and just mixed it all up. Then I added the dry organic fertilizer that we love so much, which is the crab lobster from Neptune's Harvest, which is the company that we really love their products because they're sustainable. That's what kind of sets them apart from all the others. They use fish, crab, and lobster, and they're in Maine is where their company is, and there's a lot of byproducts from that food harvest that gets used. So that's what's mixed into this bed before anything else happens. So because I planted really tiny transplants, smaller than I normally do, and you can go back to previous weeks to get the story of why and how that all happened, I did not mulch this bed immediately. When I normally plant full-size transplants to the garden, the mulch is already in place, whether it's the biodegradable film that we use so much, or like I've used compost here. You're going to see today the beds are mulched, or any kind of mulch, pine straw, bark, whatever you use. Typically, I would have prepared this bed, mulched, then planted my little transplants right into that. It's really the simplest and easiest way. Well, it didn't happen that way with this garden. So this week I was actually able to mulch the garden. So last week and the week before, I demonstrated so the mulch wasn't down. Our transplants were still fairly small, but we had carpets of little teeny weeds, and you can go back to last week's and the week before to see how I show you how the proper way to use this is a Japanese grass weeder. Every girl on our farm carries one of these. It's like it's a purse. We don't go out without it, and because it's so useful for a lot of different little garden chores, but primarily for sailing through the top 1 inch of soil flat, taking out all those developing weeds. When the weeds are young and small like that, y'all, they are so vulnerable. It doesn't take much to extinguish them. So the last 2 weeks we showed you how to actually do that, and this is also, y'all, a great Father's Day gift if anybody is still looking for something to get for Dad. We do have them at right and left hand versions in stock. If you order it, we ship on Mondays and Thursdays, and if you order between now and 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, the girls will get that shipped out to you. So we built the beds. I planted transplants, and we'll see, I planted some full-size basil and we planted some tiny ones, and you'll get to see in my little garden here the difference between the two. So this week, right before I came on here actually, and it's just too funny, I had a friend visiting earlier, and I said, well, sorry, I have to get out of here because I have to go do one more little fast weeding on my cutting garden and mulch it. They said, oh, you're the one that does all that for your video? And I said, yeah, this is like I'm the head bottle washer, right? But what I wanted to share with you is part of the joy of this little cutting garden, and I am really speaking to the people that might not have a cutting garden or are afraid to get a cutting garden, any home gardener, this garden is only 3 by 10 feet. It is so small and so productive that it's a joy to take care of. So I came out here at probably 5:30 and did a little quick hand weeding. And then ran my hoe through just to disturb anything that was starting to develop. Then I went over to our compost. I actually have a pickup truck full of compost for our dahlias and tuberoses. Sorry, y'all, my nose is really itching. Some allergies or something around here is bothering me. So we just got a truckload. So I got 2 tubs, 1 tub for each bed, and I mulched this garden in like 2 minutes. It's just so joyful. I mean, I just can't tell you how much I'm enjoying this. And to mention joy, I did just, there's a blog you can go to and read, and it's called The Joy of the Tiny Cutting Garden, that's talking all about this. And so that really, really helps. So I think, I'm not sure if next week's the week, but the next week or the week after, we'll be netting this and talking about why it's really, really so important. So I also today, the other thing that I really thought this would be a perfect time to do, so sunflowers, let's just talk about sunflowers for a few minutes. The sunflowers that we grow in this particular garden and that I grow here on my farm are always the single stem sunflowers. There are some types of sunflowers that are branchers that get multiple heads all over them. They are perfectly wonderful to grow in a home garden. We do not grow them at all on a commercial scale. They just don't hold up as long. They're just not as nearly as space efficient. There's just a whole lot of reasons. So the sunflowers that are in this cutting garden, which they're the biggest plants that you'll see here today in this little garden, they go from seed to bloom in about 55 to 65 days. So they're going to come and go. And this little garden of your zinnias and your basil and your coxcomb and the other types of zinnias are all going to keep on pumping out the blooms, but your sunflowers will be done. So one of the things that I've suggested to people that works really, really well is while those sunflowers are like halfway on their way to making a bloom for you, we're going to direct seed. You could also do this with transplants. And actually, I do have some transplants over there, but we're going to direct seed them. When these sunflowers are halfway through their growth cycle, I'm suggesting that you plant, and perhaps we'll plant seeds amongst those sunflowers today on one of the garden beds. And that means that that seed will start to germinate and begin to grow. Then you're going to harvest the big sunflowers, which is going to allow the light and make room. And the next sunflowers will grow up through that. So the way to maximize that is to plant direct seed one bed, and we should plant transplants, which we start sunflowers every week here on our farm. I'll snag some of those that are already 2 weeks old. And that way you can have more of a succession, so you have sunflowers kind of coming along, and you may just want to do something like only plant 7 sunflower seeds this week and plant 7 next week, so you'll have that whole once a week thing, right? So that just adds a whole nother layer of sunflowers. And you can also find on my blog how, I'm just writing this down so I can tag it, how to grow sunflowers. There's, it's actually a Lisa Live that I do nothing but talk about sunflowers. And I want to just tell you a couple other things, because once I get over there and get down, it's hard for me to, I have like a book of notes here in front of me. I want to tell you just a little bit more, and I'm going to try to end this Facebook Live. I want to take you inside Suzanne's bouquets that she's made for tomorrow's subscription customers. It's like the cool season hardy annuals meets the beginning of warm season stuff, because there's sunflowers in them, and the very first zinnia that I've cut, they're just glorious. So I'm gonna try to take you in for that. So the other part of how enjoyable it is to grow this little cutting garden, and now the sun's coming through. I'm actually going to jump from where I am. I want to show you guys one more thing. We have brought back 2 styles of gloves that we used to sell that we dropped for a year when we were trimming back. We now have the black tough gloves. This is another great Father's Day gift, you guys, so you'll find those. And we now have the toddler gloves again. So you'll find these under supplies on our website, because I'm getting up and leaving my little table to get out of this sun. So those are really great for this time of the year as you're starting to do stuff. I'm actually going to move over here to the steps where we used to be, right? Because now the sun is gone. Y'all, this little cutting garden is so beautiful. I can't wait to show it to you with the mulch on it. My knees are cracking. They crack every time I bend over. And they have since I was a child. Y'all, I'm trying to find a kind of flat place. I'm a little crooked there, but that's okay. So before we look at the cutting garden and stuff in a few direct seeded sunflowers, which are already over, where did I put them? They're already, oh, there they are. Sorry. I knew I laid them there. At least I thought I did. So part of this whole enjoying this little cutting garden, I gotta fix this, y'all. It's not gonna be good on the recording. Sorry. I think that's a little better. It's just not only very, very rewarding. I just can't tell you how rewarding it is for me. And, you know, I have huge commercial cutting gardens here. This is the funnest garden that I take care of. But I'll tell you what else it does. It builds your confidence so much because it is so successful and it's so small. I mean, literally, if you start to get yourself in the habit for harvesting, which will be twice a week is what we recommend, you know, take 10 or 15 minutes. It won't even take 10 minutes, y'all. Start getting into that habit, okay? If you're going to, we're Monday, Thursday harvesters here. You can do any days you want, but you want to kind of spread them out as much as you can. And you can tend to your garden now. I mean, I feel pretty good just sitting here looking at it. It's really so very rewarding, and that builds your confidence to do other stuff. So that is just really great. And so here is some of the unspoken benefits of a cutting garden that I just used to talk about this a lot. When I was traveling and lecturing all over Kingdom Come, one of the talks that I gave was on this cutting garden. And one of the greatest gifts of this garden is sharing the flowers. Not only is it wonderful, right, to have fresh flowers on your kitchen table all the time, sharing them opens another, it kind of drives you to grow more flowers. And y'all, that's kind of how I got into this whole flower farming gig thing, right? So you, first off, you're successful with the small garden. You see how much people love it. It makes you grow more. And all of a sudden, you're going to become the person that's on every party list, because what's your hostess gift going to be from here until frost comes? A cut flower bouquet. You're going to take a little bouquet of flowers to whoever, whether you're going to a party, if you're going to the nursing home. And I don't know if I don't think I've ever told you all the story. I think it's in Cool Flowers. Really the kind of the way that I fell into flower farming is that my grandma was, she had a massive stroke and was completely paralyzed. For 7 years she laid in a bed in a nursing home, and our family was there pretty much every day, and my day was Tuesday. And it was, you know, it's really, for anybody that has anybody in that kind of position, it is just really tough. It's tough on them. It's tough on you. They can't do anything. My grandmother, I'm a lot like my grandma. She was busy all the time, never sat down. And so when you get there, they have a long list of things for you to do, which that's all they do is lay around and think about things they can't get up and do, right? So in the beginning, I would just go, and I tried to read her books, and none of that really seemed to help. But then I had started vegetable gardening, and I had planted this one little row of zinnias, which I had never grown a zinnia before, because I had been a shade gardener when I first started. I didn't have any full sun. Now Steve and I are married. We're here living on this place, and I have this one little row of like 15 feet of zinnias. And I cut some one day and stuffed them in a mason jar, of which I had a plenty because I can. And something magical happened. Y'all, I haven't told this story in a long time. My grandma was in a place where it's big. It probably had 150 rooms. And her room was all the way at the end. You had to walk through the entire place and around the bend to get to her room. And I had gone there every Tuesday. I usually would get there about 9 o'clock, and you walk down the halls, and I mean, it's really sad. You know, there's lots of people sitting around, nobody's smiling. They're, just a lot of, well, you know how it is. And for anybody that has gone to nursing homes, you know what I'm talking about. And I walk that hall, and you know me, I mean, I'll speak to the wall. I'm grinning and speaking and smiling at everybody, and people just look at you with a blank look on their face. Until the day that I walked in that front door of that home with that little jar of zinnias. I'm telling y'all, it took me 20 minutes to actually get to my grandma's room that day. First off, the receptionist had to stop. Oh, those are beautiful, da-da-da-da. Well, I walked from the front reception hall into the hallway, and people that had looked at me with a blank look for weeks, all of a sudden were smiling, coming up, following me. Of course, I'm trying to interact with them. And the sweetest story, and then I'll get back to what we're talking about here, the sweetest thing that happened on that first day, which really led me to come home and plant more flowers, was there was a man that just walked up to me. I mean, he kind of like right in front of me, so I had to stop, and he said, "My mother grew zinnias." And he started to tell me a little story, and one of the nurses came up to me and said, "That man has not spoken in," I forget how long she said, "a long, long time." Flowers do things to people, y'all. And I witnessed it, and that was what led me to plant more flowers, because then I started taking flowers every week to the nursing home for all the dining tables all over that nursing home. And one thing led to another, and here I am, 24 years later, 23 years later, growing flowers. So flowers are magical, and when you grow them, there's just nothing like it. So sharing your flowers is really, really amazing. So I have just a couple of ideas for you, and then we're going to look at the garden here. This is a really great thing for friends to do together. So we got a story from someone that she and her friend, who lives in another location away from here, are doing Zoom calls, which a Zoom is how you can do what we're doing right here, but not on Facebook. You can do it on Facebook too, where you and your friend can do your gardening together. I mean, set up your phone. My phone is on a $14 tripod, that just holds my phone. There's a lot of fun things you can do, but you can also do a little cutting garden, or even a half of a cutting garden, like one of these beds, in somebody's yard that really is struggling, or a shut-in, or someone that's lonely, or someone that's suffers from grief, or I mean, there's just so many great ways, because it is such low maintenance when you plan it and set it up according to this. See, I'm just grabbing it because we have people joining us. This is the cutting garden that we're talking about. It's on our website, thegardenersworkshop.com, under seeds, and it's got the diagram, and I've actually split this diagram in half. I have 2 3-by-5-foot beds instead of the 3-by-10. Do you know what a joy this could be for? I mean, I think there's a couple of people that I deliver flowers to that were gifts. People gave them our subscriptions for Mother's Day, and they meet me. I don't knock on doors. When I drop bouquets off for subscriptions, they have the bucket on their porch. I literally drop it in and leave. It's up to them to kind of figure out that I've come and gone. I have 3 of them, actually, 3 people. I mean, they're at the door waiting for me when I drop it off, because they're watching for these flowers. Think how much they would love a little cutting garden. And it's so easy to do. So those are just some really great gardens. So I do want to say that all of these lives are being put on my blog. If you go to thegardenersworkshop.com, go to the blog, go to Lisa Live, and then there's a tag on those that are Cutting Garden. If you tap the tag Cutting Garden, all the lives come up so you can watch them in succession. And I'm trying, they're not tagged, they're not full of all the information, but I'm going to try to go back and add all the things that I mentioned so you can go and find where those are. So I'm just looking at my list. I think I've told you all the stories. I'm going to save this story for next week. Next week, I think we might be netting. Maybe, maybe not. So I want to show you the Cutting Garden mulched, and I'm putting my gloves on so we can plant. I'll tell you guys that I live in these gloves. These are the Nitro Touch gloves. We brought them back because they're the best gloves on the planet. They're only like $8, and you can buy 4 of them for $22 or $23, I think. And I mean, you'll never come through the ends. Your hands don't get dirty in them. Love them. And since we're going to plant sunflowers here, let me, let's see, what am I going to do? I think I'll take you off of here. And we're going to look at the garden. Try not to hit the button to cut you guys off. I'll turn you around. Oop, hit the wrong button. Oh, y'all, believe it or not, I got to take my gloves off for just a brief second while I tap. Why is that? There we go. Now you're turned around. Stand by. All right. So let's go around here so you guys can see what we're looking at. So as I mentioned earlier, I just mulched this bed. The beds right before I came on here was a piece of cake job. I mean, how sweet is this going to look, y'all? And the other thing about this cutting garden, it is the perfect complement to companion to snip stuff from your landscape. See those the perennials that are in front of the end directly? That's Heliopsis, and it's just starting to bloom. They look like yellow Shasta daisies. They're like the perfect add-on, right? So let's just have a look at our cutting garden here. So that you can see, I mean, I've pretty much created a container by putting the rocks around the edge. Then we filled it up with soil, and you can see they're just coming along beautifully. So that's the coxcomb over there. There is our lemon basil. These are our Oklahoma zinnias back here. And see that the sunflowers are kind of overshadowing a little bit, but you can see that they are not affecting them at all. There's enough room in here that they just do beautifully, right? So I want us to look at, these are the lemon basil plants, and these were the more mature ones that we planted together. Remember, I had 2 sizes, some that were the normal size that I like to plant, which were like 4 or 5 inches tall, and then on the other side we had some less mature, and you'll see. But look at all the branching on here. So let me, y'all, this is really difficult sometimes. So you can see this is a little branch, that's a little branch. When I make the first cut, which we're going to do that together, it's going to be way down here, which you can't really see right now. When I cut it, when that day comes, you'll see. But there's already branching happen at the bottom of this plant. And these, I wish y'all could smell this. Oh my goodness, the lemon basil is just absolutely amazing. So those are the teeny weeny little coxcombs that we planted. And in the back there were the larger ones we planted. So everybody is coming along really, really beautiful. And on this side over here, so see how big those guys are. I would guess, I'm going to say they're like 8 to 10 inches tall. On this side, the rest of the basil, and they are much smaller. These were the teenier ones, and this works out really kind of perfectly because how much lemon basil are you going to put in one bouquet, right? So you want to stagger out your harvesting. So this has the lime green, there's my seeds sitting back there, lime green zinnias, as well as the big mixed ones. And so I chose to use compost for our mulch on this bed, because compost not only does, the only job that, there's a weed, mulch is to block light from seeds, right? And from weed seeds germinating, as well as to retain moisture. Well, something else it can do is become part of your soil. That's what all organic type mulches do. And so this is some of the mulch that we got a load of today. And I thought, why not just put a couple inches of this on the bed, and that just continues to feed the soil and do both jobs at once. So what I'm speaking about doing is dropping some of these seeds. So I have a new color. This color, I got to talk about sunflowers too, y'all. I'm going to plant the Pro Cut Lemon, which is the really clear, pretty yellow one. And I am going to, let's dump a few of these out. Y'all, there's a lot to be said for I need like 3 hands. So we're going to dump. Whoop, one just got away from me. I'm just going to plant 5. Okay. And our packets reseal, so you can just reseal it. So I am just going to take a seed, and I am just going to poke it into the soil right here. Now, the reality is, and see, I'd like to leave my finger poked. And I'm just kind of scattering it amongst the feet of these sunflowers. And I'm going to put one up here in the middle. And if you water these, if you don't get sufficient rain, I haven't watered this bed at all. This has all been watered by Mother Nature. And I'm just pushing that seed down in there. And that's it. So you'll forget about them. And then all of a sudden, you'll come out here one day, and lo and behold, there will be little sprouts there. Because these are already working on building buds. So that is going to add the next layer to our little bed. And I just want to walk back again and have a look. This has just been the funnest thing. And I tell you, I'm even the one weed eating around this thing. I'm just having really a good time. So this is just really a sweet little, so the 3x10 cutting garden is split in half to 2 3x5 gardens. And we're about in week, I think this is week 5. So we're coming right along, and now that it's hot outside, I mean, we're really, really getting warm. They're really popping right along. So it's going to be kind of dicey to net this with those sunflowers so big. But I'll talk about netting and why it is just so darn essential if you get torrential rain and stuff like we do here. So I want to just talk about sunflowers for a minute, y'all, because sunflowers are perhaps one of the most popular flower seeds that we sell. And I mean, the flowers, we sell just gobs of them for people, for straight bouquets, and in our mixed bouquets. They just really, really save us. So sunflowers, we really like the Pro Cut series. And the reason I like it so much is for a couple of different reasons. One is it's really fast to bloom. It only takes 55 to 65 days, depending on your conditions, from the minute you start the seed, whether it's inside or what we just did. 55 to 65 days from doing that to when it blooms. So that is really quick. That's only like 2 months, right? Sorry, y'all, my allergies. I'm smelling something. I don't know if it's like I think the ligustrums or something are blooming. I don't have any in my yard, but my neighbors do. So, Pro Cuts, which when we were in high production, we just grew the orange. The orange is the classic sunflower. When somebody thinks sunflower, that's the color. They call it orange, but we all, I think, probably think of it as yellow. So that's the one we've always grown. Well, now that we are serving just our members only market and a couple of commercial customers, we are growing more diversity. So we have added back to our line of seeds all the Pro Cut colors, and it was just added Friday. So you can now go to, and I put the link to the sunflower seeds on this feed. You can go and see, we now have the plum, the red, the bicolor, the lemon. We've always had lemon. You'll find the white ones there, and then a couple of different types of the orange, and we'll talk more about that later. You can read the descriptions and see what is going on. Look at this cute little bud. He's kind of like tapping me. So sunflowers are super easy to grow. You can plant them up to 2 months before your first expected frost. So that means if your first fall frost is mid-October, ours is mid-November. If yours is mid-October, that means that mid-August, and you can even push the envelope, why not plant them one more time after that? Up to mid-August, you can plant sunflowers, and you can do it every single week. You can plug just a few in as you're cutting and making room in your bed. Let's just say that you have a little storm or something and it knocks over some of your coxcomb or whatever, or you have too much coxcomb in your bed. You find that you can't cut it enough. Pull out some of it, and there's another little spot that you could mix up and put different sunflowers, because the variety of the sunflowers, the chocolate ones, which are plum, I mean, you can really just mix it up, as well as fall, as you're moving into fall, change the colors. So here's the other thing about Pro Cuts that makes me grow them over others. They are what's called day length neutral. And so what that means is, you know how the days are like getting the longest right now? And then we hit, I don't know what day it is, I think it's mid-July is like our longest day, and then after that day, the day starts shortening again. You know, every day gets a few minutes less light. Well, these sunflowers are not affected by that. I mean, many flowers are affected by day length of light. But these are not as affected. Sometimes their blooms will be smaller or bigger based on all of this, but it doesn't really matter because they're all wonderful, right? So planting these sunflowers each and every week or every other week, or you just have to make space for them, and I just can't tell you how wonderful it is. We have so many sunflowers right now. I mean, we're looking to throw away 20% each week. That means we have enough to serve everybody. But we end up don't throwing them away. We're having a lot of fun right now sharing sunny bouquets with first responders and different people. It works really, really well with all this dish rest going on. So we planted our lemon sunflowers. Getting my list out, y'all. So I'm going to first look and see if you guys have any questions on here. Oh. And, oh, hey, everybody. So we're going to see, yeah, it is pretty here tonight. And it's not so, I mean, this is like raw Lisa. It's been a hot day for me. I've been putzing around here. You know, the day-to-day of this little farm is not bad. It's all the other stuff that I have to do. You know, I mean, we're putting back together after, you know, having a building built, and we still have to shuffle stuff, and anyway, it's all good. But anyway, hey, Janice. So I'm just looking through here quickly to see if there's any questions. Marty, do I pull or cut sunflower stalks after I cut the bloom? First year to grow Pro Cuts. Thank you for all your help. Okay, great question. So when you, first off, you cut for harvesting, because these are single stem sunflowers, you cut wherever you need the stem length to be, because there no more are coming. So like on branching flowers, that makes a big difference, but not on these. So cut them where you need them, harvest them, whatever. Then I would just reach down and cut the stalk at ground level. that means you're just eliminating it so it's not shading anything, because pulling it out by the roots, those roots are pretty vigorous. So you may even find that after these sunflowers get really going, when you go to plant a seed or a little transplant in the understory to have for later, you may have to take a trowel or something and even cut through the roots. So that's a great question. So yeah, I'd cut them at ground level. Oh, y'all are so sweet. Tell me again why you don't prefer the branching sunflowers. Well, it depends on Mark and Caroline. Caroline, sorry. It depends. If you're a commercial grower, they do not hold up as long, and their necks are not strong enough. So they're just, and you can grow a lot more single stems in the same space that a branching sunflower needs and get a better quality cut. But for a home cutting garden, they're wonderful. So I'll tell you what, so this is how you would grow them. So the branching sunflowers, and we have a couple. If you go to that same link on this, the Moulin Rouge, which are known as the chocolate sunflower, and the Lemon Aurora are the only two. They are in fact pollenless, which would make them as a great cut flower, but they don't hold up long enough for the commercial cycle, meaning I harvested them on Monday morning. They go to my florist on Tuesday, and the florist may not use them for 3 or 4 days. They don't have a 14 to 21 day vase like these single stems do. They have more like a 7-day. Moulin Rouge, if you don't cut them close, kind of closed, which if we can get inside, I'll show you some. You cut them closed, I'm telling you, they'll start opening and they already start dropping petals. You can't have a commercial flower doing that. But for a home garden, they're awesome. So to get the most out of your branching, you would plant your branching sunflower, Moulin Rouge or Lemon Aurora that we sell. Plant it, and when it gets like 18 inches tall, pinch it back to like above 4 leaves on the bottom. That makes it start branching earlier, and those branches are longer and prettier. The thing I love about Lemon Aurora and Moulin Rouge in a landscape home garden is they're also black oil sunflower seeds, and if you leave the flowers on the plant, the finches adore them. Joker is another great one. So I might actually plant some of those. We're doing so much experimenting this year. So that's why they just don't last as long. Hey, Wanda from Alaska. Do the sunflowers give only one bloom? These varieties do. You have to know what variety you're planting. Most sunflowers are single stem. There are some branching, and as I just shared, they're awesome in the home garden, but they are not for cut flower production. And how do you keep the boys away? I would think that, are you talking about Tucker? It's really pretty interesting how it's going with our dog. He's so wonderful. He's such a mess. But that's another conversation someday. He's doing so wonderful. You should see him run around these little beds and not throw them. We throw his ball over here, and it's really, really worked out well. Oh, thanks for joining us, Shirley. So Shirley, this is her first time with us. Thank you so much. If you guys would please like and share this broadcast and invite your friends. That's what really helps us to get more followers. The more we do that, the more Facebook likes us, and the more that means they show our feed to other people. So welcome, Shirley. Oh, the bugs, sorry. So, Alicia, that is also a long conversation. We don't do really anything. We are natural gardeners, and my book, Vegetables Love Flowers, tells that story. It talks about how I restored the natural order of my home and gardens, and we help nature take care of pest problems, and it's really that simple. I know people just don't believe it. Well, I'm living proof. We have pests that come here, but we also have the predators, and it works out really, really well for us. And in fact, I just yesterday uncovered our huge squash plants. We keep it under row cover until it's almost too big to fit, to protect it from the squash bug. Then we uncover it, and then if the squash bug does get on it, by the time that damage or death comes, it's already produced a boatload of squash. And so we succession plant squash. So it's all about your practices, and we use 0 pesticides, no organic or otherwise, because we embrace nature and let it help us, and give it a hand instead of fussing with it. So that's what we do about the bugs. How do you keep the bugs away? That's she asked. I meant the bugs, no problem. I'm working on becoming a farmer florist. Thank you for your knowledge. Well, Caroline or Mark, I'm not sure which one of you it is. We have great online courses. Jenny Love's course, Farmer Florist, the wedding process. We've actually changed the dates up on our online courses of when we're offering them based on student suggestions. And Jenny's course will run later this year. This is 2020. If you go to thegardenersworkshop.com and go to our online courses, you can read more information about the course. Jenny's course, the registration will open in October, and her course will run, I'm guessing, I think it's 1st of November to mid-December, when it's not high wedding season. Last year we ran it in February, March, because that's just when it had to be. And that was the number one thing people really wanted. But I invite you, Caroline, to check out the courses. And we do a lot of Facebook Lives and talking about the different ways. If you're thinking about being a farmer florist, Flower Farming School would definitely be for you too, to really get a buckle on how to run a small farm, which is my course. And Dave's course is running on bulbs, perennials, and woodies in July, and registration's coming. Anyway, go to our website and check it out, and you will find out. Because what happens is when you take our online schools for flower farming, you connect with an instructor just like you are with me right now on private Facebook pages. And see, when my school's running, I don't do these quite as much, because I'm doing that with my students and answering questions, and you have lifetime access, and it's really wonderful. Thank you so much. You're welcome, everybody. So Alicia, yes, Vegetables Love Flowers is kind of a misleading title. You know, that's the marketing of a publisher. And it's not about growing vegetables. It's about growing cut flowers and how vegetables are benefited by the attraction of pollinators and beneficial creatures. And it really tells you, just read it from the beginning straight through. And it really kind of explains the concept. It's really a lifestyle that we live, and it is a wonderful lifestyle. And it'll help you with all of that. Hi, Lisa. These times make me smile. It snowed here this morning, and we are frost protecting tonight. Ugh. Oh, my gosh, Peggy, snow. Holy cow. Oh, thank you so much, Jackie from Vancouver. Kim, bless you for enduring the heat. It's hot in Texas, you know, but it's kind of cool here right now for some reason, now that the sun has gone down. Thank you for sharing. You're so welcome. Enjoy it. This helps me, y'all, as much. Caroline, Mark is an arborist. I've been a freelance florist for 27 years. Let me tell you something, Carolyn. We have another great course that's coming up that I think would be just as, if you are farming, Jenny's course would be awesome. We also have, I'm just noticing something on my arm. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm getting a blister. That's from contact dermatitis. I know what that's from. I did not wear a long sleeve shirt when I harvested yesterday. Dadgummit. Sorry. We have a brand new course coming out, and it's on our website. It's called Florist School Online. And it has been, I have been just waiting for this course. Ellen Frost out of Baltimore is a florist. She is not a farmer. And she has a studio, and she only uses flowers that are local, within 100 miles. And she does it year-round. She's been doing it for 13 years, and I'm telling you, she is blazing the pathway for the future of Florist. And it brings a whole new, I mean, it's the most, I'm so excited about this course because it's going to save flower shops. And how she does it, you need to check it out. And as one person said, they need to have a subscription to all of our online courses because there's several courses that could apply to you. But Jenny's Farmer Florist and Florist School, which Jenny's runs first and then Ellen's will run afterwards in January, is just totally awesome. Kim, loved your seed starting course. Oh, great. Thank you so much. So, yay, in Jenny's course, planting more sunnies to pay for it. That is the honest to goodness truth. I could just talk all night, y'all, and I can't. So let's see, what is, Joanne, I so appreciate all the information. The story about your grandmother and nursing home residents really resonated with me. Thank you, guys. Yeah, you know what the bottom line is here, guys? We only sell on our store stuff that I use. We only sell the stuff that I use, that I find useful, that's durable, that has a purpose. It's so easy to get so much stuff. See, I'm a bit of a nut about not wanting to have clutter. And I don't want a bunch of stuff. And I want to just have the few tools that I use, and that's kind of what we really, really offer. Both books are great. Oh, thank you. And they have harvesting information. I'm trying to convince my local florist to take the course. Kim, what you need to do, you don't have to convince her. So the way the online courses work, when you go to the course page where it says notify me, when you sign up to be notified, meaning we'll send you not only any special offers that are connected to that course, but that means that you're going to get notified when Ellen does any special events and gives resources. And what she does from now until when registration opens in November is about once a month, she'll have some kind of free resource and some kind of live event. And in fact, we're doing a live event. I can't look it up because it's on my phone. It's late in June. She and one of the farmers that she helped to cultivate, that she buys from, I'm going to interview them. And so if you get your florist to sign up for those emails, as well as our emails, she'll be notified of that stuff, and she'll see what Ellen's course is all about. So Ellen's actually developing content that farmers can share with florists to help them see why this course would benefit them. So that's just really a great, great idea. And I'm glad that you can't... All right, wait a minute. Let me back up to where I was. So, Kim, that's a great idea, and Ellen is on that. Amy did bud vases for nursing homes the other day. Yeah, it's really a great thing to do. So, Penny, I went to your website looking for the free videos to go with cool flowers, and you can't find it. Okay, so Penny, go to the store and go to the books. You need to go to the Cool Flower book page on the store like you're looking to buy it. And when you're on that product page, if you scroll down about just not very much, it'll say claim your free book study. And that's where you sign up for my newsletter, and you get the book study instantly when you do that. So it's on the product page. So guys, I want to walk you inside to look at Suzanne's absolutely beautiful bouquets that are just going to make your day. So I'm going to try to carry some of my stuff in with me. And I'm going to turn around and let you guys actually see the cutting garden one last time because it's really looking pretty in the sun's hitting it. It's that golden hour. I mean, if you just can't imagine how relaxing it is to like be in the presence of this cutting garden. So I just can't tell y'all enough how you can share this with people by sharing bouquets, but planting one of these in somebody's yard, I mean, there's just all kinds of great reasons. Oh, hey, Helen. I remember you. I have a picture of you picking up all those beautiful white lisianthus. All right, y'all, we're going to walk inside here and have a look at Suzanne's beautiful bouquets. Because of COVID virus, our schedule is really messed up here on the farm so that we can have social distancing. So normally everybody's here on Mondays and Thursdays. That means just everybody's here. So we can't really do that now because of just, close space, yada, yada, yada. So now what happens, and it's really impacted me and Suzanne mostly the most, I now harvest flowers either on Saturday night or Sunday morning at the crack of dawn because it kind of interferes with my church day. I harvest flowers to have them ready for Suzanne to come here on Sunday evening to make the bouquets that get delivered on Monday to our subscription people. And so we do that because, she doesn't have to be where everybody else is. It just lessens the numbers. So we are really just doing what we have to do, right? It doesn't always work that way. So there's the first zinnias, y'all are out there. So let me go in here and let me put my stuff down, turn some lights on. And all right, so first off, let me take you off. So we're in what is currently our warehouse. All right, so first things first, I told you we were going to look at when you can cut a sunflower when they're tight. Particularly, we were talking about those Moulin Rouge branching sunflowers. So this is one of the white ones. The white sunflowers are very predisposed to pest damage. All white flowers are. So this is how we harvest the white flowers. So these were actually harvested, and these won't go anywhere until the middle of the week or the end of the week because we want them to open like this inside where we're bug free, right? There's no grasshoppers. And I wonder where it is. I cut a couple that you could see where all the petals had been scissored off. That's why it is so, looky here. Look at the holes. That's the kind of stuff that happens because these opened out in the garden. Sunflowers quickly go, see how you can see all the petals, the green stuff is lifted, and this will quickly go to this in just a few days. And they're much happier inside. Here's another one that's got damage. See, I don't always see it. See, normally we would have just dropped this in the pathway, or I would have. See all the holes? Sometimes I'll take them in the house. But anyway, so that's how you would, and look at that. So this is White Night, the Pro Cut White Night, brown center, and this is White Light. I'm telling y'all, our specialty line of seeds that we're getting ready to introduce in the next couple of weeks. One of them is going to be that we're going to actually have a sunflower bouquet mix, which will be a lot of the different Pro Cuts mixed, so that you don't have to buy each individual color. You can buy one and get all of the colors. But let's look at this. So here's our paper. So this is my first dahlias, y'all. I cut those. Look how gorgeous they are. They aren't very big, but that's okay. This is really early. It's because we're having such a cool season. So that's one of our customers. It's actually Tucker's doctor's office. They get a short one and a big one. And y'all, look at these bouquets. So these are 4 bouquets in each. See, they're in Percona boxes, we call those. Those are Florist boxes. And so these are subscriptions. We do not offer, you don't call us up and say, send me I'd like to have a bouquet sent to my mom. We don't do that. But look at all these beautiful flowers. Look at the beautiful sunflowers, our first black-eyed Susans today. So this is primarily cool flowers, my other book about the cool season flowers. This is a snap. Look at that false. This is what's making my arm blister, y'all. See the blister marks on my arm, and now I have a blister. This is the culprit. Some people are super sensitive, and I'm one of them. There's yarrow, status, all cool flowers, all fall planted here for us. Look at that scabiosis. How gorgeous is that? And this is the poppy pod. These are the giant poppy pods that I cut. They're straw flowers. Look at this gorgeous snap. So I will tell you guys, I don't know if I've told you yet or not, 4 of our new introduction mixes are called dragons. They're a special mix of snapdragons in shades of colors. There'll be pinks, yellows, whites, and sherbets, meaning one package will have up to 13 different shades of pink and different varieties of snaps. It's the most luscious thing I've ever done, y'all. I mean, they are so darn gorgeous. And so this is a Chantilly snap, and look how different that looks from a regular snap. And then that's a Madame Butterfly snap. Lots of texture, bloom extension, just a lot of great fun. This is Monarda Lambada. So everything, good question, everything here was grown from seed. I'm just looking. Everything here was seeded. I started from seed, except for these calla lilies. Those are just some leftovers from years ago that just keep blooming. Eucalyptus from seed, all of it. And there's our sunny bouquets. We're given currently, because we have so many sunnies, a free sunflower to our customers that have ordered that says, the Sunflower Friendship Bouquet, share with a first responder or a friend who needs some sunshine. And people really appreciate that. So, and in fact, our flowers are sold out for the season. We're not taking any new ones, so this is not a marketing ploy, y'all. It is truly a way to really just help spread some sunshine. So, gang, our sunflowers, leftovers from Suzanne's Bouquets, and I think that's all that. So what'll happen, the Snapdragon, the new Dragon, that's the name of our custom mix. It'll be pinks, whites, yellows, and sherbet. Those are the 4 different seed packets. And they came about in such a great way that, and I'll tell more about it once we actually have them online. We have all the seed in hand now. So we're mixing them, and our seed packets are actually on the way. Y'all, we've had a terrible, everybody has. The industry is shut down. Our seed packet printer is in upstate New York. They had some really tough going up there, right? And so they've actually been shipped to us, so now we can start. We've actually had the seeds for a couple weeks, but we couldn't package them because we're short of seed packets. So, gang, thegardenersworkshop.com. Please invite your friends. Please share, like, and share this broadcast. Share our website. Again, my blog will have all the recordings. And we thank you guys. I really thank you for joining me. And we will also, the dragons, Rita. So here's another thing. Thank you, Rita, for asking that. The dragons and the new sunflower mixes, we're calling this our specialty line of seeds because these are mixes you can't get anywhere else. It's our special sauce. And if you're on our newsletter list, which if you're not, you can sign up on thegardenersworkshop.com. The farm news is right there on the homepage. That's who's going to hear about them first. And if we sell out of them, then we sell out. But then over the next few days, we will bring them out onto social media, and we'll go from there, right? So if you're on our newsletter list, which Rita, you are on our newsletter list, you will know when they go for sale. You'll get an email with, oh my goodness, and Suzanne and I took photos the other day. We think we got the cover of the catalog for 2021, and I have to tell you, they're on it. Oh my goodness, it is just, I mean, I love flowers, y'all. Anyway, so you'll know Rita. So thank you guys for joining me. And so meet me Friday on the porch. I know I don't do it at the same time every Friday, and it's because our schedule is just so crazy here. So if you like our farm page, which is thegardenersworkshop.com, if you like it, you'll be notified when I go live. And I thank you for joining me. Till we meet again. Ciao.